You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports. We're going to talk about Dan LeBatard and Dana White and the UFC and Jared Cannonier and those statements he made the other day about we're broke fighters. Now, we'll get to why the hell are you broke again, because I'm not real sure. I understand the pay structure over at UFC. In most sports, there's very close to a 50% revenue split. Most sports have unions. The UFC doesn't have a union, and it would seem to me like you could either choose to fight for the UFC or not and go do something else. Now, it should be noted that Jared, who fought the other night, he kind of went viral. He won a fight. He's the number 3, I believe, ranked middleweight in the UFC. He won a fight and said, we're all broke fighters. And I'm like, are we really? Because I wanted to go look, just to get some context for, we're talking higher end guys, okay? Chuck Liddell, Rampage Jackson, guys like that. But combined, those two fighters alone are worth $25 million. Hardly seems like broke to me. And, by the way, Jared has come out and sort of explained his comments further in the fact that he's not in a dire financial situation. Well, enter Dan LeBatard, who couldn't wait to take a shot at Dana White. And guess what? Somehow, some way, used the mental gymnastics to tie Trump in with Dana, and that's why fighters are broke. Called Dana a dictator. A Trump dictator, no less. Well, we know, look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I know Dan will probably come through here. I can only assume Dan hates our guts. Good. I'm fine with that. The fact is, somebody will come through here and see it. Maybe it'll be Mike, whatever. That's fine. But Stu Gotts has carried his ass for years anyway. So, look, I used to be a Dan LeBatard fan. I did, okay? But that was sort of before the days of just all-out wokeness, okay? Insane wokeness. He hooked up with the cocaine cowboy John Skipper. They were really good, close friends. Now they're working together. Look, and podcasts, I mean, my God, they awarded them and Meadowlark $50 million for podcasting. If you're worried about Jared being so broke, why don't you throw him $1 million there, Dan? So, I mean, as long as you're being brave, courageous, and stunning, right? Help a brother out. Sponsor him for the next fight, Dan LeBatard. Throw in $50,000 for the next fight. I'm sure you can afford it. Yeah, I'm kind of calling you out here. I am. Because, look, you could have talked about this all day long, but somehow you had to draw a political correlation between the two. I don't know why. I don't know. I can only assume. I know you hate Trump. Dan LeBatard rips Trump dictator Dana White for underpaying UFC fighters. I don't know if he's capable of shame and embarrassment. Okay. During a post-match interview following the main event of UFC Vegas 34, winning fighter Jared Cannonier declared he can't afford to take time away from the octagon because he's broke. Well, in most cases, most people have to work to make money. That is a thing, yeah, like the rest of us. The blunt comment from one of the sport's top-ranked fighters sparked widespread criticism directed at the UFC, which notoriously underpays fighters. I'm not saying that, Dana. This article is saying that. Podcaster and former ESPN host Dan LeBatard revisited the topic during Monday's show after being dismissed by UFC President Dana White last year over the issue. Quote, he didn't even say it was bitterness, LeBatard said of Cannonier's I'm broke declaration. It's happening more and more, he continued, noting UFC fighters are frequently stating they don't have money despite winning. It's not with bitterness. They're just telling you to pursue this love that I have to be broke and I have to keep fighting. Look, I know they love it, but at the same time, it is just a job, Dan LeBatard. He said on the Dan LeBatard show with Stu Gotts, I can't take a lot of time between fights because I'm broke. I have to keep getting out there whether I'm ready or not. Although $100,000 to $200,000 for winning a bout might seem like a nice payday, it won't afford the fighter's ability to wait long before re-entering the octagon. Well, the fact is, if you ran a company and your employees have to provide production for you to make money, you need them to want to come back and want to perform. That's just part of it. I worked in the corporate world for years. That's how this kind of crap goes. Fighters operate as small businesses, needing to pay taxes along with high cost of agents, managers, training, and travel expenses. Quote, fighters in that sport are paid 18%, whereas in the sports they have unions and collective bargaining. It's close to 50% of revenue, LeBatard explained. In 2019, ESPN entered a $1.5 billion deal to exclusively distribute UFC pay-per-view events. The sport has money, but the pay structure doesn't allot that to a lot of fighters. According to LeBatard, one way to fix it will be if the fighters form a union. Another route is pressuring Dana White. Quote, I don't know if he's capable of shame and embarrassment, but you keep putting public pressure. Because he doesn't have any use for journalism, the podcast host continued, because he wants to do it his way, because he's a Trump dictator guy, and he doesn't have any use for unions or fairness or anything else. He just wants his money, and he gets his money and keeps getting more and more power. Last year, LeBatard asked White about fighters being poorly compensated and even proposed a charity fight with the UFC president in hopes of bringing more attention to the issue. The charity match never happened, and White dismissed the idea that UFC fighters are underpaid, ignoring calls from fighters claiming they're broke. Quote, when you start considering the desperation that is the soul and undercurrent of the fight game, LeBatard added during his Monday show, choosing that as a living, fighting other desperate broke people for money is about as close as we've come to gladiator stuff. Well, we could use a little bit more gladiator stuff. Here we go. Now, Jared Cannonier has since cleared up his broke remarks after latest UFC win. Okay, he comes down here and he says, this is on the MMA Hour. He says, quote, it's not dire. It's just a natural occurrence, if you will, Cannonier said about his financial situation. Of course, coming off the injury, I'm not bawling out of control or anything like that, and a lot of people don't understand when we have these fights that we owe people money after these fights. After this win, 60% of my money is already gone. Between the gym, between management, between taxes. On top of that, I've got bills, credit cards, I've got kids, I've got a house up in Alaska, and I've got a house here. Well, that might be one place you want to cut a little meat off the bone there. I've got car payments. That money goes. Money doesn't last forever. Okay? Right now, fighting is our only revenue. I don't have any sponsors or anything like that. Well, Jared, the first thing I would say is if you don't have any sponsors and you're the number 3 ranked guy in the UFC, and if you're paying an agent right now, I'd fire his ass. You should have supplement income coming in by way of supplements. I mean, just flat supplements. Not only supplement income, but getting paid from supplements, okay? And my God, how many different supplement makers are there out there for athletes, bodybuilders, et cetera, et cetera? They should be paying you and covering your training cost. Okay, whatever you're wearing to the ring, don't do that for free. Fighting is my only focus. I'm not out here doing commercials or anything like that. Nobody's asking me in the next Marvel movie. I'm not able to fight for the last 10 months because it put a strain on our pockets. So I'm glad to have gotten back in there. I'm glad to get 2 paychecks plus that main event bonus. I'm glad I'm not injured so I can do that. Okay, so he came right out and say, I'm not here to say the UFC isn't paying me because I'm getting paid pretty good from the UFC. It's just money don't last forever. Join the club, brother. I'm not out here bawling out of control. I'm not splurging or anything like that. I'm not stupid. I don't spend my money on dumb stuff. It's just life, I guess. I would like to get paid. I'm an elite level athlete. Nobody's arguing that. I would like to get paid like an elite level athlete. Like it's one, like the ones in the NFL and NBA and the ones playing baseball and soccer and doing all that stuff. They get sponsors. They get sponsors but don't need sponsors. All they need is that check through the organization. That's what we need in the UFC. That's what we would all like. Okay, well, and he talks about I should have 6 figures in my account that I don't need to even touch. I shouldn't have to worry about it. If I get injured, I can't fight anymore. What the hell am I going to do? Unfortunately, that is my situation that a lot of fighters are in, that I'm in myself. My wife is ready to get up and go to work, which is against the structure we have as a family. I admire you for that, brother. There's so much at the house, maintaining home, taking care of kids. Okay, man, what you're talking about there is basically everything, okay? And he does go on to talk about UFC's pay structure. The guys do want bigger checks, okay. And he says it doesn't have to be like the NFL. These guys, I'm not one of these guys that wants to be out here stunting on people, flossing and splurging like that. There's bigger and better things I could do with my money. Okay, so look, the guy is happy with fighting in the UFC, and he just come right out and said, you know, I'm not complaining. All right, so he completely cleared that up. Everybody wants to make more money. Everybody does. But again, I'll just come right out and say it. Man, you got to get some sponsorships. If you're that top-level elite athlete, there's no way you shouldn't have sponsors, okay? So I would call the agent and be like, what is going on, man? Why do I not have a creatine sponsor? Why am I not sponsoring a glove company? Why am I not, wearing somebody's shorts to the ring? Why is some kind of freaking casino not on the back of my damn shorts and paying me $20,000 extra to enter the ring? You get my point, but that covers your expenses. And I'm not trying to tell him how to do his job, but you get the point. There are things that can be done. The other thing is, when I looked you up on YouTube, you have no presence at all. Dude, immediately go start a YouTube channel. You'll have like 100,000 followers in a month, and you'll probably be making an extra 5 or 6K a month off of that alone, off social media, off talking to people. Just pull out your phone and start making videos, man. I mean, you are a UFC fighter. People will watch you. People will listen to you, man. There's other avenues. Okay? Jorge Masvidal. 800 and something thousand subscribers. Chael Sonnen, good Lord, 800 and something thousand subscribers, okay? You might not have that reach yet, but you will. You are a UFC fighter, okay? And you do get paid ad revenue, all right? And then things spring off of that, all right? So, again, I'm not trying to tell this guy how to make his money, but he shattered some of his claims right there. That Dan LeBatard's got an issue with. Now, let me get to LeBatard, because what the hell does this have to do with Trump, LeBatard? I'd love to know that. I'd love to understand that, except I know you're a leftist lunatic. You are, and you hate Trump with a passion. I mean, my God, you hate everything that has to do with conservatives these days. That's why I turned you off. Okay? God, you used to be really good at talking sports. You did. But then you got to get into these other conversations. You got into programs where you literally had radio shows where you would not talk sports. And you just told your audience, I'm not talking sports for 4 hours today. Like, we're not talking it at all for 4 hours. And I'm like, but you got a sports show, dude. So just F your own listeners, man. I can only imagine. I went over and to the video that got posted on YouTube from this shit, and it's all a bunch of woke motherfuckers listening to you, just like you, okay? That is your audience, all right? I mean, never mind trying to reach people in the middle, never mind on the right, okay? You got to go after Dana White. The only reason you're going after Dana White is because he's a Trump dude. You don't care about these fighters. You absolutely don't care about these fighters. You're trying to click the appropriate political boxes. That's it. the appropriate political boxes to make yourself look great. All right? Brave, stunning, and courageous. We all know that. All right? So, anyway, I saw Dan LeBatard had brought this up and somehow tied, and I'm willing to bet. Do you really believe that these fighters can't get a hold of Dana and sit down and talk about how they're getting paid or other ways to make money? Are these fighters doing that? Are they maximizing their opportunities away from the ring? These guys should all have sponsors. If they're in the, if they're a top 10 in every division, they should have sponsors supplementing their income. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. We got literal power lifters in town that are making money off local sponsorships. So you can't tell me a UFC fighter can't. Okay? I don't want to hear that. All right? I mean, really? Never mind the fact that, hey, you could get in a movie, get an advertisement, etc., etc. All right? So, yeah, I appreciate the fact that Jared wants to make more money. We all do. We all do. But I can tell you right now, if it was me, my personal opinion, no way in hell I'd want to be part of a union. Because if you think the NFL, the MLB, and the NBA don't fight with their unions all the time and it's a total mess, you're out of your mind, okay? But they get paid a lot more money than the UFC, as well as the UFC is doing. And look, you can't tell me Dana White's an old boxer, okay? He's an old boxer, and he knows what it's like to probably struggle when he was fighting. If you think that dude doesn't have some sympathy for that, I'm sure he does, okay? And if you're willing to work hard enough, you guys can become the next Rampage Jackson, Chuck Liddell, etc., etc. You get my point. I don't know why LeBatard had to bring Trump into this, but look, it checked his boxes on this. I got a chance to talk about this. So tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. I know this is a long video, but there was a lot to unpack to it. Okay, there was. I kind of wanted to talk to Jared here. All right. Besides just the LeBatard thing. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.